Good morning, everyone. I'm joined this morning by members of my command staff and also our strategic site advisor and our program advisor from Public Safety Partnerships, which we will get into that in a little bit. So we're here this morning to talk about the release of our community engagement assessment. Although priorities in policing are ever changing, one must always remember the roots of policing from Sir Robert Peel, which has been behind me actually since I became interim chief. He was the creator of the first professional police force in London, England, when he said the police at all times should maintain a relationship with the public that gives reality to the historic tradition that police are the public and the public are the police. Since becoming interim chief in October 2021, I have constantly strived to move the Rochester Police Department forward under the principles of Sir Robert Peel. Although at that time we were compliant with the Governor's Executive Order 203, which also included our work with the Raise Commission, we were looking for ways to keep moving the department forward. In 2022, we applied for and we were selected as one of 6 cities by the United States Department of Justice to department in the National Public Safety Partnership. This 3-year commitment with the Department of Justice is to provide training and technical assistance to help Rochester as a community reduce violence. As part of this partnership, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, also known as BJA, we're going to have a bunch of acronyms in here. I think they're also in the written release Captain Bello has for you. BJA, Project Safe Neighborhoods, which is PSN, Training and Technical Assistance, which is TTA, they conducted a community assessment of the RPD. And as I said this morning, we have our site advisor, retired Chief Kim Dine, here from PSP, and also our program advisor, Luther Tyus. They were kind enough to drive up from DC to be here this morning with us. It should be noted that not only did we request this assessment, this community engagement assessment, but we were also the first police department to make this request since the beginning of Public Safety Partnerships in 2014. This assessment was designed to review our community engagement practices and provide recommendations that build upon our strengths and address our areas for improvement. The assessment process involved members of the RPD completing a questionnaire on community engagement strategies, evaluation of our policies and procedures, and on-site interviews, not only with RPD officials, but members of our community. A total of 26 interviews conducted by nationwide subject matter experts that came here through PSP were completed with stakeholders from across the community. These interviews included members of the RPD, community leaders, faith leaders, crime victims, and more. Since the assessment began in 2023, we have already begun to correct deficiencies that were identified during this process. We learned early on that our patrol officers must not only prioritize calls for service, but they must be active in community engagement. It cannot just fall to the Office of the Chief and our Community Affairs Bureau. Everyone in the department must be a part of community engagement. This cannot be just an assigned duty, but a change in mindset for those involved. Just last month, we hired Michael Dessain from the Brighton Police Department to be our new patrol commander. He's here to my left. Mike, can you raise a hand? Introduce him to you. He comes to us with over 30 years of police experience. As part of this hire, I have challenged him with increasing the community engagement role of our patrol officers, with getting our officers out of their cars and interacting with the community. We have also learned that we must communicate more effectively with our community. In October, we hired a digital media specialist that has given the RPD one of the most verbose social media accounts of law enforcement agencies in our region. These accounts have helped the public learn more about our officers as human beings via the behind the badge style videos. If you haven't, I encourage everyone to take a look at our social media platforms. So this includes events like today that are being streamed in their entirety so that the community can access complete crucial information from us in real time. Additionally, the report highlighted the need for increasing diversity in our department. Our revamped recruitment strategies have resulted in our last 5 academy classes being almost 40% minority, including the current academy class, of which 2/3 of the recruits are minorities. This has been due to the hard work of Deputy Chief Stith, Deputy Chief Correa, our recruiting, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sergeant Collins in the Workforce Development Program, as well as Lieutenant Chula. We have also added a full day of cultural immersion training for our new hires, which includes training in the Guardian mindset at the conclusion of the academy. And again, that was through the hard work of DC Stith for the cultural immersion program. This training is specific and unique to new RPD officers. We look forward to rolling this program out to the entire department in the near future. Another training we're looking forward to is integrating communications, assessment, and tactics, also known as ICAT, I-C-A-T. Told you there was a lot of acronyms. This is a nationally renowned de-escalation program developed by PERF, the Police Executive Research Forum, with input from hundreds of law enforcement professionals nationwide. This program has also already been adopted by hundreds of police departments nationwide. We expect to begin our ICAT training for all members of the Rochester Police Department this fall. Also, as part of the Public Safety Partnership, we've taken advantage of numerous opportunities to learn from other agencies across the nation. We have conducted peer visits to major police departments across the country, including Phoenix in Miami, as well as attending the National Violent Crime Reduction Summit for 2 years now. We also attend regular working groups with police departments across the nation on topics such as communication, non-fatal shootings, and more. And you may have seen occasionally, you'll see an arrest that we put out, and we refer to the non-fatal shootings unit. There's a lot more to come on our non-fatal shootings initiative, so just a spoiler there. As we move through this partnership, we look forward to working with partner cities like Omaha, Nebraska, to find innovative ways to partner with our community in order to reduce violence. And for those unfamiliar with Omaha in their 15-year crime reduction, violence reduction program, I would encourage anyone to take a look at Omaha 360. Locally, we are in the beginning of an incredible partnership also with the Urban League of Rochester, a major civil rights agency in the city since 1965. We look forward to this growing partnership, which will see RPD officers working hand in hand with the Urban League in order to build trust within our community. I would like to thank Dr. Hawkins, President and CEO of the Urban League, for her leadership in growing this partnership. What we have learned through this community assessment is that the Rochester Police Department is moving in the right direction. We are continuing to collaborate with our community, including monthly meetings with the faith community, with the ultimate goal of reducing violence in our community. We still have a lot of work to do. We look forward to continuing our work, utilizing classic principles combined with modern recommendations from the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing, as well as bringing in new innovative partners such as the Urban League of Rochester. The RPD cannot solve violent crime on our own. Despite being nearly 100 officers short, the men and women of the Rochester Police Department continue to risk their lives daily in order to make our community a safer place. And by the way, as a side, we are very close to hitting the 200 guns seized mark for the calendar year already. So that's 3 months in. Yesterday when I looked, we were at 191 firearms seized. But the men and women of this department cannot do it alone, and we fully recognize that we need a strong partnership with our community. This assessment will help us take steps to build the trust in our community and make our city a safer place. The full assessment, Captain Bello has some he's handed out, but it is available on the Open Data Portal, cityofrochester.gov/Open Data Portal. That's all I have for my prepared statement. I will take a few questions.
Good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
You mentioned
So it was an application process. We competed to get this slot. The actual requirements I don't have in front of me. It was a lengthy application process. I'm sure the captain can get them to you. And again, I think it separates us as showing that we are willing to, reach out, look at other departments, other agencies for best practices nationwide. We can't certainly do this alone. There's hundreds and hundreds of departments out there, and police work is police work, but there's a lot of different ways to do it. So to think that we would be able to develop these things in-house and be successful, quite frankly, would be naive.
Was there any sort of guidance you were looking for specifically from this, and were you satisfied with the findings?
So, yes, what we asked them to take a look at was our community engagement. As you know, starting in 2020, our relationship with the community was fractured due to a number of events that occurred here. So my first priority was how do we rebuild that? I wanted a fresh outside look at that. We also asked them to take a look at how we handle non-fatal shootings. And as I alluded to, they have done an assessment. We'll be rolling that out at another time. But they've, again, a hot topic is use of force on juveniles. Through them, we take a look at, not only departments in our state, because obviously we have to adhere to New York state law, but what standards are from other departments nationwide. Anyone else?
What does it look like getting your officers out of the cars and onto the streets, to interact with the community? What's that going to look like?
Well, it looks like, even if you only have 5 or 10 minutes, that 5 or 10 minutes is invaluable to the person that you talk to. So, we've talked many times about, response times, the calls for service workload, but even just parking in front of a store, spending 5 minutes to get out and go and say hello to that shopkeeper is 5 minutes in an officer's workday. It's something that shopkeeper is going to remember for a long, long time, because again, oftentimes the only time people interact with us is when they're having a very, very bad day, and we need to change that. Okay, thank you, everyone.